Hi guys, welcome back to another tutorial. Today my name is Blessing. If you're seeing this channel for the very first time, you're welcome. Join the family. Okay, so in this video you'll be learning how to make this beautiful dress. Without further ado, let's go right into the video. So these are the materials we are going to be needing: the paper stay, wording, zipper, and this is the chiffon fabric. That's the black fabric for the sleeve, the pleats. Okay, this is the main fabric and that is the lining. So we are going to start by drafting the upper bodice. Okay, I'll be drafting the upper bodice first before we go into the cutting of the lower part. So I'm marking the chest line, the bust line, the under bust, waist, and the half length. And in my half length I added 1 inch, which is the difference between the front and the back half length, so that we can have our side darts. So I'm going to go ahead to rule out all this horizontal mark that we have on the paper. Okay, so I decided to add a little speed to this so that this video will not be too lengthy. Alright, so you can see that I've labeled the line. So now we are marking out our shoulder line. That's the shoulder divided by 2, and that is what I have just marked out. Then I'm going to go ahead to mark out my neckline. Okay, then on the shoulder line I went down by 1 inch so that I can have my shoulder slant. Okay, so I'm going to mark out the depth of the neckline that I want. Then I'm going to connect to the shoulder like this. That's the shoulder slant, just the way I have placed my curved row. Okay, next thing I want to do is to do my shoulder tightening. I want to come down by 0.25 from the neckline, just so our neck will not be too open at the upper part, to make it fit on the shoulder. That's the essence of the shoulder tightening. So from the chest line I want to come up by 1 inch. Okay, from the video you will see that the yoke is not too down. Then the shoulder line I'm going to divide into 2 like this, then come in by 0.75, just so I can have my armhole curve. You know all these things already, which is in our basic pattern drafting. Okay, in case you don't understand, just check out the link in the description box. So I'm going up by 1 inch from the chest line so that will serve as our yoke. Alright, so this is what we are going to have as our yoke, which I have labeled. So now we can continue drafting, and all our drafting will start from that line. So the next thing we want to mark out now is our nipple to nipple measurement. Okay, nipple to nipple measurement divided by 2 is what I have marked out from the chest line, or above the chest line, to the half length. Then on the both side of the line I'm going in by 1 inch on the half length and also on the under bust line. 1 inch on both sides, just the way you see me do. Then I'm going to come up by half an inch and go down by half an inch from the bust point before I can make my row, my curved row, to form the cup. Okay, because it's a bustier. All right, then on the over bust line that we have, I went to the side by 1 inch, then to the center front by half an inch. Then I'm going to connect to that part where we went up by half an inch, just because we don't want our bust point to be too pointy. That is the essence of coming up and going down by half an inch on the bust line. So now I'm going to be taking my body measurement. Now that I'm done with my dart intake for the under bust contouring and the over bust contouring, I'm going to go ahead to join the points together like this, which serve as the measurement. Okay, that's our body measurement. I'm taking my body measurement divided by 4. Then don't forget to return all your dart intake. That is what you are seeing me do. Anywhere you take out your dart, ensure you replace them back before you take out your body measurement, so that it will not shorten your measurement. Okay, so this is what you see me do on the over bust, on the chest line, and also on the under bust. I have returned all the dart intake. So that is where we are going to be having our armhole now. You can see they have replaced all the dart intake, so that line will no longer be needed. That will serve as our new dart intake. I hope you understand. So now on the bust line I'm going to come down by half an inch, 1 inch, which is our dart intake for the side. That's our side dart. So I'm going to go ahead to cut out now so that we can measure out. You can see that I didn't cut through because I want to be able to fold in like this. Okay, and I'm going to be holding this down with our masking tape. Then I will redraft the side curve to match up with each other. Then I'll continue with the cutting out. Okay, all right. So guys, if you are yet to subscribe to this channel, especially if you are seeing this channel for the very first time, please don't forget to join the family. Okay, join the B2 Queens. All right, so I'm cutting out the neckline, the shoulder, and also the armhole. So this is what we have for the front piece. We have our yoke already. That's our center front CF and our side front CSF. Okay, so this is what we have. You can see that by the time we join this together, the shoulder or the armhole is going to align. Moving forward to the back pattern, I have my zipper allowance marked out, and I have all the necessary horizontal measurement. That's the chest line, bust line, and the half length. So I'm marking out my neckline and also my shoulder slant by 1 inch. Okay, so I've marked out my neck width. Okay, mark out your desired neck width. Then for the neck depth, I'm going to be using 2 inches instead of 1.5. Okay, I'm going to be using 2 inches, and I'll also mark out my armhole curve like this. I'll divide the remaining lines into 2, coming by half an inch. Don't forget, for the front part we went in by 0.5. Then for this I'm going in by half an inch. Then on the chest line I measured my bust measurement divided by 4. Then I connected to make my armhole like this. So on the bust line I measured my bust measurement divided by 4. On the half length I went in by my half length, my waist circumference divided by 4 plus 1 inch for the dart intake. So now I'm going to be marking my dart intake, which is my nipple to nipple measurement, starting from the zipper line. Okay, then I'll connect like this. Then I'm going to go ahead to mark out half an inch on both sides to draw out my darts like so. Okay, so this is how my dart is going to look like. Then I'll connect all the side measurements which are already marked out. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead now to cut it out. Then ensure that your neckline extends to the zipper line just the way you see me do now. So I'm going to go ahead to cut out all the lines just the way you see me do. Okay, and that will be all for the drafting of the half lengths. Okay, so these are the patterns, the front and also the back. Alright, so for the lower part, which is the skirt part of the dress, we are going to be cutting directly on the fabric. So to fold the fabric into 4, just the way you see me do, you are going to have 15 inches to your hip measurement. Okay, if your hip measurement is 41, you add 15 inches to it, then you fold it into 4 like this. Then you leave out your zipper allowance behind, just the way you see me do. So I've marked out the length of the gown, excluding the half length already. So this is what we have remaining. I'm going to be cutting it out. Okay, I hope you understand the way I have folded into 4. Okay, you are going to add 15 inches to your hip measurement, then you fold into 4, then you leave out 1.5 inches for the zipper for the back. I hope you understand. Okay, so I've gone ahead to measure the waist plus 1 inch allowance. That's the waist divided by 4 plus 1 inch allowance, then plus sewing allowance. Then on the hip I went down by 9 inches to get my hip line. Then I'm going to divide my hip into 4. Then I'll mark the measurement like this plus my sewing allowance, and I connected to the waistline. Then I will go down by another 8 inches. Okay, or you just get your knee measurement, then go in by 1 inch. You know, it's a pencil gown, you want it to be straight, right? So you go in by 1 inch, then you connect to your hip line like so. I hope you understand. All right, so now I'm going to be cutting this out from the waist down to the hip, then down to the hem of the dress or of the gown. Okay, so this is what we have now. Then I'm marking my dart intake. Okay, I took out my nipple to nipple measurement, then give it a notch to mark my dart intake. Then on the length we added 2.5 inches for turning in the lining. Okay, after you mark out your length, your desired length, add about 2 inches or 2.5 inches to turn in your lining. Okay, then I'm notching my zipper allowance and the center front all together. Okay, I hope you understand what we have done. So this is the skirt part fully ready. So now I have transferred all our patterns to paper. That's for the upper bodice. We have the half an inch allowance all around, but for the side we have 2 inches. Okay, half an inch allowance all around except for the sides, your side joining. So I added 2 inches for that. So this is what we have. This is the yoke using our chiffon fabric. That was the yoke. I cut out 2 pieces. One will serve for the lining, one will serve as the main fabric. So now I am done putting all our interfacing. I add the paper stay to one of the yoke. Then I added paper stay to the bodice and also for the wadding. Okay, I added paper stay and wadding for the front. These are the lining for the front. Then this is the back. Okay, I've cut out the lining just exactly the way we have the fashion fabric. Okay, you can see what we have. Then this is the lower part, that's for the skirt part of the dress. This is what we have. Okay, you can see that I reduced from the length of the line, so by the time we fold our 2.5 inches we are going to have the exact lining we needed for the gown. Okay, if you don't know how to measure this, how to reduce from your line, let me know in the comment section. I'm going to explain to you in the comment section. Okay, so the next thing we want to do now is to start turning out our lining. So we're going to place our lining on the right side of the fabric. Then we'll go ahead to sew the neckline, then the zipper line, then the side. We'll do this to the both side of the back. Then for the front, we are going to be sewing in the cup area like this. No, I told you this is a bustier. Okay, so the part where we have added our wadding, I use a medium wadding. Okay, we are going to go ahead to sew with our half an inch. Then we are going to be placing the other side of the side front. Then we'll go ahead to sew with half an inch or whatever allowance you must have added. So you sew this way. All right, then we are going to be doing the same thing to the lining piece as well. Then for the yoke, we are going to be turning just the neckline alone. Okay, just the neckline. We are going to top stitch when you are done sewing. So after sewing, this is what we have. I've gone ahead to sew the lining piece for the front and top stitch. I've gone ahead to sew the lining for the back. Then it's time for us to iron out the cup area open. You iron it open. Okay, but in case you do not have lights, probably when you're sewing and you need to continue sewing, just cut out from your allowance on the line, on the cup line. It can also work that way. Then we forgot to reduce from our center back, okay, to avoid zipper bulge. To avoid zipper bulge, we forgot to reduce from the allowance. So this is what we are going to do now. I marked out my zipper line, then reduced by 1 inch upward, then blended to the waistline like so. Then I marked my zipper line back. I hope you understand. Then I also went ahead to mark out my dart intake. Okay, so now I'm just using my iron to iron out the dart line. Then we'll go ahead to sew the dart line just the way we have marked on the pattern paper. So this is it. This is how the dart for the back is going to look like. So for the front piece, we are going to be placing our yoke now. You can see, but before we place our yoke, this is the piece which I have cut out. Okay, it's a pre-cut piece. It is by 60 in length, and on fold is 4.5. On fold is 4.5. This is what we are going to be using to do the pleat on the chest area. That pleat on the chest area, judging from the thumbnail, the picture you saw on the thumbnail. Okay, so we are going to be using this to form the pleat on the chest line. So this has to be sewn before we sew in our yoke. So this is how you pleat. You can see the way I'm picking it. Ensure you have equal measurements. Okay, I'm just eyeballing this to pick the measurement for the pleat. Okay, so we're going to keep pleating all the way straight down, just the way we have it from one side of the armhole where we have our armhole cutout to the other side of the armhole. After that, this is what we have, you can see, and I've given it a nice press to bring out the pleat. Okay, so it's now time for us to sew in the yoke. Okay, the back, I've gone ahead to sew in the darts for the back just like the way I show you initially. Then we can now sew in our yoke now. So I'm trying to get the center part for the front and also for the lower part of the front and also for the yoke, so that they can align equally. Okay, so ensure you place the center piece, the center part first before you pin to the sides, so that the neckline will not shift to one side. I hope you understand. Okay guys, so you pin down from the middle to the side, from the middle to the other side, then we'll go ahead to sew down. So you can go ahead to sew the yoke down first, or you also place your lining piece. This is the lining. So the lining now is going to, you're also going to get the middle part of the lining as well. Okay, ensure the middle part are aligning. Okay, then you pin to the side, then you sew. After sewing, then you can go ahead to sew your side front. Okay, after sewing, this is what we have. You can see how this is done neatly. Then I'm going to turn to the right side now, so that we can give this a nice press. Before that, we need to iron down the lining on the yoke part so that it doesn't start coming out. And to do this, we are going to be using our hemming gum. Okay, I'm going to be putting our hemming gum just inside the lining. You can as well sew, by the time you are sewing down that neck part, you can as well sew down your hemming gum and iron together. Or when you're done ironing, you open it up like this, then you place your hemming gum inside like this, then you give it a nice press, just so it holds down the lining on that part so that it doesn't come up. Okay, this is just to give it a good finishing inside. So by the time we are done, we're going to sew down these parts. Okay, now that we are done with the upper bodies, let's go to the lower bodies, that's the skirt part. So now we are going to be turning our lining starting from the hem of the skirt. Okay, we are going to be sewing from the hem first. Okay, you sew straight down from the hem, you can see, with our half an inch. Okay, half an inch. Now by the time you sew, you now drag down, or you drag in your lining, then that will take you to the knot. Then from the knot, you can see that the lining and the fabric are aligning equally. So before we turn in our lining, we are going to sew in all those black styles, all those black design you saw on the skirt part. Let's sew that first on the main fabric, that's on the fashion fabric, before we turn our line, so that all those rough edges will be inside. I hope you understand. So I folded into two like this, and this piece is the same length as the skirt, then the width is 4 inches. Okay, I have notched the middle parts of the skirt already, so I'm going to be placing this black piece on top of it on the center part, ensuring that we are going to notch the center part of the piece as well, so that the both notches will be aligning, so that we have equal black fabric on the side, on each side of the fashion fabric. I hope you understand. Okay, so this is what we are going, this is how we are going to place it. Then we are going to pin down. After pinning down, we are going to sew the both sides together. Okay, we are going to be folding it in. Okay, ensure it falls to the middle or to the center. Then you pin down, because chiffon can be very shaky, so you have to use your pins. Then we are going to be folding in like this, then we sew down, then the other side will fold in like this, then we sew down. Okay, after sewing down, this is what we have. Okay, so moving forward, we can now go ahead to sew in the lining piece just the way I explained earlier. Okay, So we'll go ahead to sew just the way I explained earlier for the lining of both the front and the back part of the skirt piece. Okay, so after doing that, turning the lining, I've gone ahead to sew the darts. Then I now remember that we still have another thing to do. You know that this tie has a lot of shirishi on it. Okay, so for the front slit, this particular gown I'm making is not a total long gown, it's a 3/4. Okay, it's not totally long like the picture on the thumbnail. So I marked out the length I want for the opening, then I cut out together the main fabric and the lining. This is how you cut it out. You can see what I have. Cut it out, then we'll go ahead and sew it inside. And to sew, I already turned out my waistline and I've already sewn the dart, so I'm just going to go ahead to lose a little part of the lining so that I can go in to sew. Okay, but if you have not sewn in your lining, if you have not sewed down your waistline and taken your dart, you can do this. Then after sewing this, then you can go ahead to sew your dart and also sew down the waistline. I hope you understand. So from that part that I lose, I can easily go in now and just pick that part that I just cut at the center front, because the slit is at the front, not at the back. Then I will sew down just the way we have cut out. So after sewing, this is what we have. Then I'm going to go ahead to give it notch. I'm going to give it a very tiny notch towards where the sewing stops. Then I'll turn it back outside from that part that we lose, so we can just top stitch that part later. Okay, that part that we lose to go in, we can go ahead to top stitch. Okay, so you can use your scissors to push in the edges. Okay, to push out the edges of that part that we have just sewn in. Okay, then give it a nice press. At this point there was no light again, so I couldn't give it a nice press, but just do that and ensure you have a very neat work at hand. So that part we are going to ensure we'll fold it in and top stitch. So moving forward, the part that looks like a pocket, you can call it a fake pocket, that design that looks like a pocket. So I'm using a chalk, not a tailor's chalk, a normal chalk, so that I can be able to transfer the pattern to the other side. That's why I'm using a normal chalk. So the width of this one is about 2 inches. Okay, after I got the curve, then I separated by 2 inches to get the next line. So I clap it into two like this, so that will transfer the curve to the other side of the skirt. You can see. So I'm using the chalk to just make it more visible. So the next thing we want to do is to place our black fabric on it, then cut out. Okay, so while cutting that, I left half an inch before the line, so that will help us to fold in the edges by the time we want to sew. So I left half an inch before the line. Ensure you don't cut your fashion fabric, okay, just the black fabric that you're going to cut. So I'm going to use this to cut another one that will serve for the other side of the skirt. Okay, so this is what we have by the time we are done cutting for the both sides. So I'm just going to place each of them like this, then I'll pin down. Okay, ensure you are placing the right part for the curve. Okay, so we'll pin down, then we'll sew. You can see we're going to sew in the edges for the both sides. So we're going to do this for the both side of the front piece. Okay, ensure you pin down. Chiffon can be very shaky. Okay, so now for the upper bodice, the half length, there is also another black material on the waist area. So now I have this about 3 inches wide. Okay, so I'm going to sew from the top first. Okay, you can see the way I place it. You sew from the top so that the sewing will be inside, so that by the time we turn down, it will match up with the waist measurement. And that will be that for the front piece. So the lower part is ready. You can see, looking beautiful, and the upper part is also ready. Okay, so it's time for us to join both the upper bodice and the lower bodice together, ensuring that we mark out the center so that we can have equal measurement on the both side. Okay, always take note of that. So I'm going to pin from the middle to the side, from the middle to the side. Okay, so guys, let me pause here while I take water before I continue. All right, moving forward, I already done the lining for the back, and we've sewn the dart for the lower part. So it's time for us to join the upper bodice and the lower bodice for the back together, just the way you have seen it. Okay, so I'm going to do this for the both side of the back. Okay, ensuring that your darts are aligning and your zipper line are also aligning. Right, so after joining that, then we can go in with our zipper. Okay, after sewing with half an inch, we're going to join with half an inch. Then we can leave the space for the zipper, then we'll sew down completely. You know, we already have the slit at the front, so we can sew down completely for the back. So this is the back, which is ready. Our zipper has been sewn. You can see how beautiful it is looking. Then the waist, this waist for the front piece has also been joined. You can see how beautiful the front is looking already. Then it's time for us to join in our shoulder and shape the dress. Okay, so it's time to join the shoulder, then shape the dress. You join the both shoulder together like this, then you pick one of the lining, right, ensuring that they are aligning equally. Then you pick one of the lining to cover it up like this. Okay, from the back you bring it to the front, cover it up, then you sew down. This is just to hide the rough edges of the shoulder. Okay, so I'm going to do that for the both shoulder. Then we'll go ahead to take our body measurement for the exact bodice. Okay, so because this is a bustier, for me, if I want to take my body measurement, especially for the bust area, you know, the bust for the front is already raised. So if my bust is 40, if I want to measure, I will measure 42. Because if you measure the exact measurement for the back, for the front, it will reduce what you have for the back because the front is already raised. So just add 2 inches to your normal bust measurement. So by the time that's increased for the front, it will help increase the measurement for the back, and at the end you have your actual measurement. I hope you understand this trick. So this is it, guys. After shaping, you can see how beautiful this is looking and coming out already. Then it is time for us to go and cut in our sleeve and attach the sleeve. Guys, I literally used 3 days in sewing this dress. If you are watching closely, you will see that I've changed like 3 times. So I used 3 days in sewing it because I actually want to film the making of this dress, right? So now for the sleeve, I went ahead to mark the length of the sleeve plus 5 inches. If the length of your sleeve is 23, add 5 inches to it. From the video, you see that it's a bit long, right? Then by the time you drag in with your elastic, it should still fit. I hope you understand. So add 5 inches to the normal length of your sleeve to get this sleeve. So after measuring the length that I want, I measured out my armhole divided by 2. So this is my armhole divided by 2 downward. Then I'll mark out my armhole curve like this on the sleeve, ensuring that I have my proper armhole measurement. Then from there, I'm going to shape it this way, like A shape. Okay, as though you want to cut a bell sleeve. Okay, you are going to shape it out as though you want to cut out a bell sleeve. Okay, so like I said, if you're working with a chiffon fabric, use your pins because it is very, very shaky. So I'm just going to go ahead to cut out just the way we have drawn on the fabric. All right. So guys, if you have watched to this extent and you are yet to give me a thumbs up, please do. Please do, because I am working myself out for you guys. Okay, give me a giant thumbs up, engage in my videos, comments, give me comments please. I really want to know how I am doing in the comment section, so please don't forget to give me good comment. Don't forget to share to your soul friends. All right, so now we are going to be folding the hem. After folding the hem, then we are going to come up by about, let's say, 5 inches. After folding the hem, come up by 5 inches. Then we are going to be sewing this elastic. This is a tiny elastic. You drag before you sew, so it will help us shrink the fabric together. I hope you understand. Okay, if you watch the video of the top I'm wearing here, this particular one, you understand what I mean. Okay, so this is what we have after doing that. So for this, I'm gonna need to join the side after attaching the elastic. Okay, so just to join your side with about half an inch, you can see half an inch. Then it's right time for us to fix in the sleeve on the bodice. So you turn your sleeve to the right side. Okay, then you notch the mid parts of the sleeve like so. Then you pick the bodice, or you pick your dress, and from the right side, okay, you can see that the fabric is on the right side, so I turned it. Just watch the way I'm doing it. Okay, before then I want to just cut out all excesses and make sure it is aligning properly. Ensure you have equal or neat edges before you place your sleeve. Okay, on the other part of the sleeve as well, I'm cutting out all excesses just to make sure everything aligns properly. Then we can now fix in our sleeve. So from the right side, I'm going to, the fabric is, the sleeves on the right side, so from the right side of the fabric you also pick in the sleeve, then you pin down like this. Okay, then we are going to sew all around the armhole. Okay, by this you will know that you must have sewn your armhole on the bodice the same measurement as the armhole for the sleeve, so that every part of the sleeve and the armhole will be equal. That's the armhole for the sleeve and also for the dress should be equal. So by the time you are pinning all around, there will not be any excesses. I hope you understand. So we are going to go ahead to sew the sleeve for the both sides, just the way we have pinned. We'll do this for the both sleeve, and voila, this is the end of the tutorial. Okay, my mannequin is not doing justice to it, maybe because the owner of this fabric is a bit bigger or is on a plus size than my mannequin, but you can see that we have actually achieved what we have on the thumbnail. Guys, I hope you have learned something today. I'm sure you have. Please don't forget to like my video. Don't forget to comment. Don't forget to share. Don't forget to give me a giant thumbs up. Okay, you can watch my other videos as well. Engage in my videos and give me good comments. Thanks for watching. Thanks for your time, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.